people. Today we have an Olympic set. Um, I'm using long coffins and I have pre-prepped those, so let's get started. The reason I'm laughing is because I'm not really happy with this set. In my head, I pictured them, they were going to look really cool, but in reality, didn't come out so great. But at least I finished them and I've got an Olympic set. So buckle up because this is kind of a long one. I tried to speed up everything I possibly could in here, and I got it shaved down to just a little under an hour. So I hope you can bear with me through the whole thing. We're giving a white base coat to these three here, and we're going to go in with the second coat, which we're doing. In case you're wondering why I haven't gloved up, is because I only had like maybe half an hour that for the first day. By the time I got all my crap together and got my nails, the tips prepped and whatnot, I had only half an hour left to polish, so I didn't want to waste a pair of gloves for a measly half an hour. Okay, I got these letters. I bought those actually, those are the ones we're going to use that I've pulled out. I bought these actually to use with resin stuff so I could personalize things on there. But I hadn't gotten around to that yet. So this is the first time I'm using them. Of course, there was a hair. So I'm starting with this one because this was going to be the easiest one. For those of you that are not in the US, you could change the bottom letters that are going up and down to, you know, your country letters, abbreviation, whatnot. Obviously, I'm doing USA because that's where I'm at. And now it's just a matter of getting everything lined up where I want it and straight. Nothing looking all wonky. I did put a thin layer of base coat. We kind of breezed past that one. You didn't see it, but it's on there. That's why they're sticking and moving around. Now we're going to cure that. And while that's curing, I'm moving on. My detailer brush, we're going to start on this next one. This next one is going to be a gold medal. So now I started off with a straw because I wanted a nice, perfectly round, symmetrical, metal part. So I thought the straw was going to give me that, and it, for the most part, it kind of does. It's just that we're not working on a flat surface, so it's a little temperamental to get it on there. And also, I'm going to use the straw to do the Olympic rings because I need those all to be the same size and shape. So that was my thinking. It didn't totally work out, but you guys might have better luck, or you might come up with a different plan that's better. Now I'm just going to fill this in with the yellow. Well, this is supposed to be yellow gel paint, but it's actually gold, which is going to work out fine for this project. And I'm just rounding it out. Now in hindsight, I wish I had put this farther down on the nail so that I could have a longer ribbon on the top, for the ribbon for the metal that holds it on. Okay, this one's back out. I'm going to give this a hefty layer of base coat, and then we're going to put it back into cure. And now we're back to this one. I've got some gold chrome, and I'm going to chrome that metal, that little gold circle. And normally I would just use my fingers, but since I'm trying to avoid getting it on the white part of the nail, I'm going to use this little makeup brush, sponge, whatever the hell it is. I don't wear makeup, so I don't know anymore. And I'm just going to give that a good rubbing so we have a nice shiny gold metal. a little bumpy looking, but alright, we're going to clean that off, and as you see, I did manage to get some of it on the white, so I'm just going to spend the time to clean that up right now. Actually, what I should have done is just top coated it first, and then I could have wiped the excess off a lot easier, but of course I got to do it the hard way. This set nearly did not happen, you guys. It has been miserable here all week. The whole time I was working on this set, I had sweat literally dripping off my chin, my nose, you know, it was pouring out of my gloves, even through my clown cuffs that I had on. It was crazy. Okay, now we're going in with a hefty layer top coat, and this is the tempered top coat now. As I'm sitting here doing this voiceover, I'm still wiping sweat off my face every 2 seconds. I am so over the summer. Alright, we're going to we're topping this just over the chrome. Keep that nice and safe so I don't scratch it doing anything else. And once I get that on there where I'm happy, we'll cure that. And we're back to this. This is a second layer of the top coat, tempered top coat. Pretty hefty layer. And now we've cured that, and now we're going to do the old file and buff routine on it. It really was pretty smooth. It really didn't totally need it, but you know, we just got to do it. We got to do it. Make sure it's nice and smooth, and we have our sides. The sides didn't get unshaped. I didn't lose my shape on the sides this time, surprisingly, but we're going to go along the edges anyway just to tighten them up. And then we'll buff the top. Give it the old file and buff. I think this one's my favorite one of how they came out of all of them. Okay, moving on. We're going back to the gold medal now. And what we need is green, which I do not have green gel paint, and I didn't feel like getting out any extra stuff, so we're going to be mixing some green up as soon as I get that piece of hair out of there. Now this is going to be a funky looking green because we're using gold instead of yellow. But I only needed a teeny tiny bit for 2 little things on the ribbon, and then for the one green ring of the Olympic rings. Now I've really got too much in there. Like I said, it's a funky looking color of green. Not a very pretty shade, but it's going to suffice to do what I need to do. And I'm going to be painting the ribbon for the gold medal, and I'm going to do 1 stripe of each of the Olympic colors of the rings. I tried to find out what this year's medals are going to be, you know, the ribbon's going to look like. Okay, now we've cured that. I'm flashing those in between each color. We've moved on to the yellow. I tried to find out what the ribbon's going to look like for this year, but then I decided I don't want to have these be dated so they can be worn, you know, for any Olympics, Summer Olympics. So I then opted to just do the ribbon on here in the same colors as the Olympic rings. And then I also eliminated, I was going to paint a 2024 on the middle of the gold medal, and I changed my mind about that too, because I did not want to date them. And my black seemed to be a little sparse there. Okay, this will be the last one, and then we'll give it a full cure. There we are. And moving on, this one is going to be the Olympic rings, and it's going to be on a pinky nail. And once again, I should have started down a little lower because we're going to run into the top edge of the nail. But this is me trying to get, if I could get the bulk of the circle on there, I felt like I could at least then paint it in. So it's going to be, but I just needed something that was going to give me a uniform size and shape. Now I will use the straw method for the first 3 rings, the ones that go across the top, but by the time I got to the two bottom ones that link everything together, the straw was not working for me anymore, so I had to freehand those. So you can see the difference when you look at the finished one of this finished nail. I'm not happy with it, but I did the best I could in the circumstances. I so didn't want to be in there. It was just so darn hot in here. Now this one I had wiped off several times. The first time I put this one on, I linked it with the red one, and then I didn't realize that the top row of circles, they don't link together. They're separate. The only ones that interlink with them are the two bottom ones. So I learned something new that day. And they still look a little kind of frazzled looking, I don't know. They're not as nicely smooth as I would like them to be. And as you can see, I've got black paint all over my gloves in numerous places now. FYI, this is the next day now. This turned out to be a 3-day deal getting these done. Now, as you can see, this blue one is running off the top of the edge because I got way too close. I should have moved down, and I didn't feel like starting over at that point, so I'm like, I'm just gonna go with it. The hell with it. Anyway, I forgot to say it took me, hang on, 3 hours and 15 minutes for this set, all in. I'm sure I could do it a lot faster now that I have a better plan. Some of the nails I got kind of changed up on the fly as I was going because of my original plan. I ended up scrapping it, or I came up with what I thought was a better idea at the time. Okay, moving on to the bottom row now. The green and the yellow one, as I said, those link into the top ones, but they don't touch each other on the side. Now at this point, I was still trying to go with the straw, and it was kind of failing me here because we're on a much steeper part of the curve now of the nail. And now I've got way too much polish on this gold one. If I'm not mistaken, I think I'm going to wipe it off and start again with it. Also, there's certain parts of the ring that it crosses over, and other parts where it goes under. So I had to be paying attention to that, which I screwed up at the beginning. So I may as well just wiped off this whole one and started over because I pretty much have got it off of there now. And I was curing these, flashing these in between each color circle since I have to go over. And I was afraid of painting, bumping them and whatnot. You know me, I would have managed to smear it if I didn't cure it after each one. Or more accurately, the way things were going, I could have probably dripped sweat on it, and that would have ruined it too. And I have not sweated so much in my life as I have in the last week or so. I'm drinking 3 to 4 liters of water a day, and this is kind of gross, you guys, but I'm going to share. I know it's TMI, so don't come for me. And I barely am having to pee at all. I mean, I'm sweating it out almost as fast as I can get it in. So, yeah. For those of you considering moving to sunny California, just be aware. It is sunny, but damn, it gets hot sometimes. And the whole global warming thing has got... I mean, it is way worse. This is hotter, way, way hotter than it ever was when I was a kid growing up here. And awkwardly, I'm trying to figure out how to do this. Now that I've turned it around about a dozen times. And I had to mix up some more of that ugly green because I didn't have quite enough. I'm trying to fatten them up a little bit without getting them too weird. And I got to keep the interlocking parts where they're supposed to be. Now I started with these 3 particular nails because I figured these were going to be the 3 easiest ones. Nope. These 3 took me the longest out of all of them. Okay, now I'm just cleaning the green off the black where I overcrossed it where I shouldn't have, and then we're going to cure that. I'm not happy with it, but there it is. Okay, we're moving on to the next 2 we're going to work on are going to be for swimming and diving. So I wanted them to have the base looking like pool water. Now you guys, this is really sad, but I actually had to stop what I was doing, watch my own damn tutorial on the pool water nails I did last summer because I could not remember how I did it. And even with that factor, they didn't come out as good as the ones I did last time. I mean, I got there sort of in the end, and I went with them just because I was too hot and tired of fooling around with them, but I was not, I couldn't believe that. I had to watch my own stupid tutorial. Alright, we're going to cure those. They've got their 2 coats. And coming back now, we're going to take base coat. I way overdid it with this because I just did. I don't know. I don't know. I only was doing 2 nails. I really didn't need that much of this, but I got crazy with it. So we got our base coat. Now we're going to add some white. Now this Beetles white that I'm using is kind of a little bit on the milky white side. It's a little more sheer than the regular whites that I normally use. So plus I'm at the tail end of the bottle of this. I did use the rest of this bottle for this project. See, I need way more than what's coming out of there. But now that I've started with this white, I don't want to mix a different one in because this is the only Beetles white, and I don't like to mix. If I'm doing any mixing together of stuff like this, I don't like to mix 2 different brands because sometimes they do weird things. Like I know the Clou Beaute that I use a lot, I can't mix that with Beetles because it really gets all weird. It just gets all stringy and weird. I don't know why. There's some kind of chemical reaction that's not compatible. Okay, we're going to mix this up. What I'm going for is a white that's got a lot of the base coat in it, so it's kind of like a sheer white. And what we're going to do is we're going to just paint that over the blue now. I will put a link to the pool water nails that I originally did last year in the description in case you guys want to go back and watch that one, because you'll get a much better version of what the pool water is supposed to look like than what it did in here. Okay, I don't know what I'm doing here, but we're doing something. That should have been edited out. And I'm not going back and changing it now. I know what I was doing. I was cleaning my brush. I lastly used this brush with red, so I was very leery of using it with this white and then ending up with pink. So I was giving it a little better cleaning. Now we're just going to paint this over top of the blue nails. You can just kind of glom it on there. Don't worry about it being streaky or anything. It's not going to matter. Okay, and the other one. And we're not going to cure this yet. Okay, that one seems like it's got an awful lot on there. It was also starting to go a little pink, so I think I had to stop and clean my brush out again. See there? It's getting pink now. Okay, I have done that and cleaned it, so we're gonna go over this again with some more now that it's been sitting here. Okay, now I have got just the bottle brush and base coat, and I'm just going in with those and dotting them on there. Now, I'm not sure if this is the one I ended up keeping. At some point, I ended up wiping it off and starting over, and I don't remember if I edited that part out or if I kept that. I think this is the one I'm going to keep now. I know it's going to put a lot on there with the base coat, and I'm just kind of trying to move it around a little bit. So it's not all running off the side. It kind of looks like pool water. Not as good as the ones from last year, and I still can't figure out why. It seems like when I do something for the first time, it usually comes out nice, and then when I try to recreate it, it doesn't work again. Okay, I'm just going over it now with just the white by itself because that one didn't seem like it had enough. And now there's a hair. All right. I think we're ready to get the base on it. On top of which this bottle of base coat is down to the tail end, and I was having trouble getting it out of there. I believe I already had cleaned my palette at this point, so I couldn't just scoop it up off of there. Now the base coat is gonna it kind of acts like the blooming gel. It's gonna spread, but it's gonna push that white out, so around the edge of the little bubbly area. Okay, we're gonna let that sit for not too long, because then the first one's gonna get crazy. But on the second one there, I'll let it sit for just a tiny bit and do its thing. And eventually, when I'm happy, or as happy as I'm going to get, they're going to go in the lamp for curing, and then we'll move on. Now, did I get them in there yet? I don't think they went in yet. What was I doing? Okay, now they're in and they're cured. Now we are ready to add the little event icons on here. Okay, I'm going to use white for these only because I have a couple nails that are on the darker side, and if I used black to do these, it wouldn't have shown up on them, and I wanted them all to be uniform in the same color. So we're doing them in white. This is the swimming one, so we're going to do the event icon for their swimming. Now I had printed out a sheet, that had the Summer Olympic game icons on it, and that's what I'm going from, which I'll show you in a second. Once I get this on here. Also, in hindsight, I wish that I had thought these through a little better and did some better stuff on them, because they're kind of bare looking, all done. Not all of them, but some of them. Like they needed some. Like maybe on the swimming ones, I could have done some little flags like draped on a string across the top or something. I don't know. Something to fill them out a little better. Okay, we got our person that's getting ready to jump in the pool. As soon as I make the pool water. Some squiggly pool water lines. And now it just needs a head. Okay, I'm going to use a dotting tool to do the heads, so they're all going to be the same size. But we got our person ready to jump in the pool for the swim. As soon as we get a head on there, we can cure this. Actually, I'm going to cure this with the other one together. There's the head. Boy, I really made the arms long, didn't I? Okay, we're done with that one. I was gonna get the doodad so I could show you what I'm working off of. Where are we? See, there we are, right next to it, right there. That's what we just did. There's your swimming guy. girl or guy, whatever. And the one we're going to do right next to that is going to be the diving one, which is just to the left of the swimming one. And it's going to be that one right there. Okay. This one is looking a little more pool watery to me than the other one. I'm going to start with the water. And then we need the diving platform or board, whatever it is, whichever one it is. And then we need the person going off of it. I probably spent a good hour looking up different Olympic event icons because I wanted some that were going to be simple and easy to do, but also, you know, really looked like the thing, but they weren't, but something that wasn't going to be too busy and crazy. So these are the ones I went with. I was really surprised at how many there were. If you look at the winter and the summer together, there's a lot of events. And the head. Can't even tell what it is till we get the head on there. Okay, and there's our diving person. Although technically their hands should be together, but that's not the way they drew it. Okay, then I will cure both of those, and those two will be finished. And then we will move on to the next one. Now what am I doing here? I wanted to get the body connected onto the legs a little better. Okay, let's go with curing that. Okay, moving on. This is going to be the gymnastics nail. Now, I was at a loss as to what to do for a background for this one. So what I ended up doing is I remember one of the uniforms that the U.S. team had for the women was the top of it was a really sheer blue, and it had like a crystal fade from the neck down through part of the chest. And so that is what I'm going with for my background. I'm only putting on one layer of that blue because I wanted it to be on the sheer side. And then we're matte topping it, so it's going to look like sheer fabric. Okay, that's curing. And now we're going to need gem glue, which I've got. And I'm using these little tiny AB crystals to put on there. Now normally I would do all my crystals at the end, but since we're doing these kind of on a nail by nail basis, that's what I'm doing. Now I'm just going through here and putting a bunch of glue dots all over the top of here, and that is where we're going to stick on all the crystals. I'm trying to be careful and not get glue in big blobs where there's not going to be a crystal, because I'm not going to be top coating this one again. This is it for the top coat. Okay, we got our glue on. Now we just got to get the crystals on there. Now, I had this problem last time with when I was doing the peaches and cream set. My wax on this picker upper tool is super soft because of being so hot. And you barely have to touch any of this stuff, and if you press even the slightest bit too hard, the crystals and whatever you're using is like embedding itself into the soft wax, and then of course it doesn't want to come off to get it onto the nail I'm trying to get it onto. But anyway, we're just going to continue on till we put all those little gluey dots covered up. a few more. This is one reason, this nail right here is one of the reasons why I didn't use black to do the icons, because I knew it wasn't going to show up on here. And I didn't want to have some black and some white, so. And we need just a skosh more glue, a couple of spots. Okay. Let's not get carried away, lady. Come on. Another thing too, by the time I got done working on these, on the third day, I had been in there with my gloves on for however long it was, a couple hours, and as I said before, the sweat was just pouring out of my gloves. My clown cuffs were not stopping it that much. They had gotten, saturated and were soaking wet. And when I took my gloves off, my hands were so pruny, it wasn't even funny. I mean, it was bizarre. It looked like I had been in the bathtub for, like 3 hours or something. They were just pruned up like you couldn't believe. Okay, I think I cured those. If I didn't, no, they're going to get cured with this, but now I don't remember. I do see a little glue sloppage. Now I haven't packed this set up yet. It's still sitting in my light box from when I shot the pictures, so I think I'll probably take some matte top and go along in between those crystals and clean that gluey mess part up that I can see that I didn't notice when I was doing it. Okay, this is going to be our gymnastics icon. I'm trying to figure out, I'm looking at the icon that I'm copying from, and I'm trying to figure it out, but it's like sitting off at a weird angle, so it's not facing the same way that I'm facing, and so I gotta kind of readjust. I have to readjust my thinking, and my thinking does not work very well when it comes to like spatial kind of stuff. I need to see something exactly if I'm going to recreate it. It needs to be in front of me, facing the right direction and everything. If it's facing a different direction, then I get all screwed up. Okay, there's the head, and there's our gymnastics icon. She's doing a handstand with a partial split. Okay, moving on. That's going to get cured. Now we're going to move on to these other two. These are going to be our track and field nails. Starting off with this light green. We're going to have just one coat of this because we're going to put something over top. Okay. Here we are. Here's where we are with the first hand's worth. We got our swimming, diving, and gymnastics on there with our Olympic rings and our Go USA. Okay, now those have been cured and they're back. Now I've got alcohol ink, and this is the green one. Now I'm just slopping this on here, like just very quickly in a haphazard way, mainly because I was trying to get some depth to the grass to make the middle of the field look more grassy and not just a flat plain green. That's the only reason I'm doing this, and frankly I was just slapping it on any which way until I was semi-happy with it. And no need to cure it because it's alcohol ink. It will dry on its own in a few seconds. Okay, now I forgot to hit record when I painted the track around the edge. I used a Venalisa Med Gel for that in that dark gray. Now I'm going to paint lane line, just one lane line because it's too, we don't have room for a few. We're just going to do the one, just so you get the idea that it's a track, a running track, I guess. In case you don't see the lid for that Venalisa color, it will be in the description in the materials list. As I always put everything in there. And as soon as I neaten up some of those lines so they're not have big knobby bits on them. Okay. Now frankly, the nails on this hand went much faster because I was so hot. I just was like, I'm just going to do this and get out of here. I did not put as much time and effort into these other ones. Now these track and field ones didn't come out too bad. The volleyball one, well, that one leaves a lot to be desired. And the biking one kind of too. Those two were like last minute changes, and I'm not super happy with them. Okay, we're gonna have our running guy on this one. I should say running person. And once again, I'm copying from that sheet that I showed you before with all the icons. Also, I'm thinking I should have made the icons on some of these much bigger than what I did. That would have taken up more space so they're not looking so bare in the middle. Give him a little bit longer of a forearm. I probably should have started over farther towards the middle too, huh? Now that I'm looking at it, trying to figure out which way to go with these. And now he's got to have a head. He was literally running around like a chicken with his head cut off. Oh, excuse me. Doop. There's his head. And we have a running person. Okay. Now if I would have had more patience and more time, I think I might have painted some little hurdles on the track, or I mean something to jazz them up a little more. I could always go back and add them in, but you know I probably won't. Okay, this one I chose to, we're going to get the lane lines on first. This one I chose to do a shot put person just because I think it was right next to the Running Man one and it looks simple. Some of the other track and field event icons, either I couldn't tell what they were supposed to be for, or they were either too complicated, or there was some reason I didn't want to do them. So what I ended up with was the shot put one. And we're going to change off part of this line because I'm not happy with it. But if you look in the center where the green is, you can see now it has more depth. It looks a little more grassy than it did just as a solid layer of, you know, just a plain flat green polish. Now, I thought I sped these up, and possibly it is sped up, but it's just, I'm just that slow. Okay, I think we're happy with that. And we're getting ready to do, or not. Nope, I'm going to take some of this one back off. Clean it up a little. While we have a second, I have no idea what I'm doing next week, so we're going to be both surprised again. I'm just not sure what I'm going to do. What I need is for it to not be so damn hot in here. I mean, I have a ceiling fan. I have a little fan on my desk that is literally blowing right on my face the whole time I'm sitting there, and I still am sweating like crazy while I'm there at my desk. Okay, this is the shot put person. I know what I could have done. I could have painted the staggered start lines on there too. That might have helped on the around the track part. Well, if you guys decide to do any of these, you can add the extra bits and bobs that I didn't have the patience to do. I think it would really make them a lot better. But like I said, I was so darn hot when I was doing these, I just wasn't thinking straight. I couldn't think very well. My brain was fried. Alright, what am I doing? I'm just staring at it. Okay, it needs a head and a shot put ball now. There's the head. Now we just need the little shot put ball in there. Boop. There we go. And those two are ready to cure. And in they're gonna go. See what I mean? They're just too plain. Something else needs to be on there. Okay, this one is gonna be volleyball. Now, I thought about doing beach volleyball and doing a sandy bottom, but then I wouldn't be able to paint the event icon on top of that sandy bit, so I nixed that idea and went with indoor volleyball. So that's why we've got this color, kind of the floor or neutral color. This one hasn't got anything on it but the icon, and then I decided, what can I do? Oh, what are we doing? Okay, while that's curing, while that volleyball one's curing, I'm doing the base color for the biking nail. This is going to be like surface street, like a road. That's the same gray I did the track with on the track and field ones. I guess I'm not going to show you the color, but like I said, it's in the description. This one I was going to do basketball, but I changed it out at the last minute to biking because I like the icon for the biking one better. Okay, and now I'm going to paint street lines on the middle of this, just down the whole center. And I'm not sure why I'm sitting there staring at it. I knew what I was going to do, so let's do it, lady. It's too hot. Too hot. Just get it done and get out of there. I know it looks like they're going off to the side, but I don't think this nail was fully straight on the nail stand either. I think it was kind of on there slightly, going to the side. So they are centered when you see it done. It just doesn't look like it right there. Okay, that's going to get flash cured. And now we're going to do the icon for the biking guy or person. I don't know what else I could have put on here either. See, by the time I got to this second hand, like I said, I was done. I just wanted to be out of there, so they kind of suffered. I don't know what I could have put on this one. Maybe I could have done some stuff along the side edges that look like a crowd standing along the road, maybe, I don't know. Okay, and now we need some tires. Now, before you guys say anything, I know these are not round. They were not round on the icon either. They were kind of more ovally. So, it's not my fault. Even though they look a little wonky painted on when I get it done, that's the way they pretty much were on the icon. Alright, now I need to clear that off of there and redo it because I didn't like it. See, this is why it behooves you to flash these in between some of these little bits, because then I could have just wiped that off, but now since that middle part's not cured, I have to be careful that I don't ruin what I already did on there. Boy, I really need to clean that silicone mat, don't I? I need to take it out and scrub it. Alright, now we got that cleaned off. Let's take two. I guess I don't have that much more to talk about about these. As I'm recording this, tonight's the opening ceremony for the Olympics, so we'll be watching that later. We're usually pretty big Olympic watchers. Well, I am. I know my husband will get bored with it after a couple days, and then he'll just kind of semi-watch it, but now, I don't watch everything because I'm not a real big sports person, but certain things I will definitely watch. Like, I'll watch the track and field. I'll watch all the gymnastics, a lot of the swimming. Pretty much the only stuff I don't watch are the actual game stuff. Like, I don't watch any of the basketball, soccer, water polo, any of that kind of, a full team game stuff. I don't watch any of that. I take that back. I do watch volleyball, but that's the only team one, I think. And there's our biking person, and that's going into cure. Now, on this volleyball one, I had forgot to hit record when I painted the icon on it, so it's already on there. And what I'm doing right here is it looks way too plain, so I'm just taking some of this other brown and I'm trying to make this look like a wood grain floor, kind of. I failed miserably at it, but if I was more in my right mind when I was doing these, like the background above the net, I would have painted or something, like maybe looking like bleachers or something. I mean, I would have done something so this looked more like the volleyball court than what it does. Okay, now what I ended up doing is getting out a sponge, a little makeup sponge in a minute here. And I'm going to just dab on where I've got all these squiggly lines on here to kind of mush them together so they're not so weird looking. This nail, this one's kind of a throwaway one. It did not come out at all. Like I said, the whole set didn't come out the way I had pictured in my head. But that's all for that. Yeah, that all went in for curing. Now we're on to the final step, which is top coat. Woohoo! Okay, and this is the tempered top coat. We're going to be doing all of them except for the gymnastics one because it's not getting any more. It is done with what it's going to get. Still, my favorite one is the Go USA one. I really like how it came out. It's so nice and neat and everything's precise. That's why I like it. It doesn't go with the rest of them at all. The rest of them are kind of sloppy. Well, they can't all be winners. Okay, there's the first hand, and in it is going to go in for curing here as soon as I'm happy with it. I think I had a hair on that one. Yep, I can see it there on the side. Okay, those have gone in. Now we're going to top these second hand ones. We got our biking person. We got our volleyball. Got our gold medal. And then we'll have our track and field people. And then we'll be done. And in they are going to go. And there we have the finished set. I hope you like them. Well, we know how I feel about them, but I hope you guys like them. That's all I got for you this week. I'm sorry to say. Next week, hopefully, I'll have something better. I don't know what it's going to be, but it'll be something. Okay? Go USA and everybody else's teams. Enjoy the Olympics. I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.